I'm in kill mode right now.
This is what you want.
The day is finally here. The NBA Finals get underway tonight in Toronto, and that is where we find the one and only Jalen Rose, who is ready this morning. And Jalen, we're going to start with your least favorite part of the show. We're going to start with the trivia and enjoy you getting this question wrong. It comes from Hembo this morning, as always. Before the Raptors, who are underdogs in this series and have home court advantage, which was the only NBA Finals underdog the last 20 years to have home court advantage? Jalen Rose.
How about this, Greeny? I want to say it was the San Antonio Spurs versus the Miami Heat the year that Kawhi won Finals MVP.
Excellent. I want you to say that, too, because it's wrong. The correct answer is the 2008 Celtics, who were an underdog to the Lakers despite owning home court advantage, and the Celtics did win in 6. All right, not fair. We put Jalen on the shot right before we begin. Now let's get to this series here. And you and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I want to get more deeply into it. Kawhi Leonard played a huge role shutting down Giannis in the Eastern Conference Finals. And if Kevin Durant were healthy, one would assume that would be his responsibility in this series. In the absence of KD, what do you think the Raptors should do with Kawhi as a defender?
So 7-game series are a marathon. And we hadn't seen anybody have a productivity offensively and shoot 50% from the floor in the playoffs, basically, from what we're seeing from Kawhi right now. The other guys were LeBron James, KD, and Michael Jordan. He's been that fantastic. So you got to prepare this series like it's going to be a long one, like it's going to be a marathon. We've also seen Kawhi a little bit hobbled and obviously fatigued at different points of the game because he's required to do so much. So therefore, without KD, you now don't have to put him on a primary offensive player. You can put him on a secondary offensive player, so now he can be a help side defender. I like Danny Green guarding Steph Curry. I like Kyle Lowry guarding Klay Thompson. I know Klay's taller, but Klay's not the guy that's going to beat you off the dribble, and you want him to be posting up trying to get offense versus shooting three-point shots. I want Kawhi on Andre Iguodala, so that now all of a sudden the most frequent play that the Golden State Warriors like to run, Steph Curry pick and rolls with Draymond Green or Looney, he can now be the middle linebacker top rotator to now be there as a help side defender. And you preserve him for a long series because you're going to really need him to be effective and dominant on the offensive side of the basketball.
Yeah, to me, that's a huge factor in this. And again, we touched on it yesterday. If KD does come back, let me just very quickly follow that up. If KD does come back at some point in this series and appears as though he's healthy enough to be some semblance of his normal self, that's where Kawhi goes, right?
Absolutely. And if KD comes back and he's his normal 35 points per game self, you could cancel Christmas. But other than that, I like Pascal Siakam guarding Draymond Green. His athleticism, his height. You hope that he could try to frustrate Draymond. I think they're going to play Bogut as a starter. You can now put Marc Gasol against him. Gasol could play against Looney as well. So I really like the opportunity for the Toronto Raptors, and particularly up front, to match up against the Golden State Warriors without Kevin Durant in the lineup.
All right, let's go to the other side of this, and let's go to Golden State. We know Steph Curry, obviously, is a critical piece in that offense in the absence of Durant. Beyond him, whom do they need more in this series based upon the matchups, Draymond or Klay Thompson?
Oh, no doubt about it, it's Klay Thompson, because he's a guy that can erupt for a big-time quarter and get you 20 points, can erupt and have a 40-point game. He could hit 5 or 6 three-pointers in a quarter. And also, he's going to take a lot of pressure off of Steph. This Golden State Warrior offense is going to lean heavily on those guys. In the previous series, Draymond Green was fantastic, and I wouldn't doubt that he's going to be fantastic in this NBA Finals. But they have so many bodies to throw at him up front. Kawhi, Pascal, Ibaka, Gasol. In the backcourt, you're going to need Steph and Klay to be really effective and efficient. Klay Thompson definitely is going to need to show up for the Golden State Warriors.
All right, and so I know it, and I've seen you make it, but let's get it on record, on wax, as you would say, right here. Official prediction, NBA Finals, Jalen Rose, go.
I am going with the Toronto Raptors to win this series in 7 games on their home floor. The jump shot shooting Golden State Warriors, as this series progresses, they should be fatiguing because the effectiveness and the usage is going to be so very high of the Splash Brothers. I think the Toronto Raptors, Fred VanVleet off the bench has been playing well. Norman Powell. The Serge Ibaka's averaged 20 points versus the Golden State Warriors this season. He's going to play a lot of small ball center. I think that level of depth and the absence of KD the first couple of games in particular gives the gives the Toronto Raptors an advantage, plus home court in their first time in the NBA Finals. I'm here, Greeny, and I'm trying to tell you, Toronto Raptors have a legitimate chance to win it all this year.
He's been saying it all week long. By the way, I saw some video on Twitter this morning of the fans lining up to get into Jurassic Park at 7 o'clock this morning. Is that where you're going to be positioned for the game tonight?
So I think I'm going to go to Jurassic Park after we do our NBA Countdown show and do a little crowd surfing. You know, I don't get a chance to go to many rock and roll concerts, but I think this will get me close enough to that. So playing here a couple of years, I got a lot of love in these streets. I have to go be a part of Jurassic Park.
All right, I'm looking forward to seeing that tonight on ABC. All right, two other quick stories I want to get your perspective on. Two reports from Woj earlier today. Anthony Davis had breakfast with David Griffin, the executive VP there now in New Orleans, and there seems to be some renewed hope that the Pelicans can keep him. Do you see a significant chance? What are you doing here? What is that you're doing?
I am yawning because that horse has left the barn, Greeny. Okay. Once you have a player like Anthony Davis and you take him off the promotions in the arena while he's standing on the sideline, and then the fans boo him because he made a trade request, he's not going to want to play there whether they have Zion Williamson or Michael Jordan. He's already made up his mind that he does not want to play there. I'm happy for the Pelicans, however, that they were able to secure Zion. David Griffin did a terrific job of trying to make people feel like he wants to bring Anthony Davis back, because that now has trade suitors realizing that they got to come correct with their offers, looking at you Lakers, looking at you Celtics. But I do not foresee that Anthony Davis will willingly be a member of the Pelicans, though we know he has another year under his contract. So the Pelicans could drag this thing out beyond the draft, beyond the start of the season, and probably up until February if they need to get the quality deal that they want.
And Jay, real quick, I have 30 seconds here. The other thing that Woj reported was that Daryl Morey is sort of aggressively pursuing deals that might significantly improve his roster there in Houston. Is there a deal you can see out there that would give the Rockets a better chance to win it all next year?
No deal I see, Greeny. You're going to basically be stuck with Chris Paul's contract, 3 years, like over 120 plus million at this point of his career. Though he's shown to be a productive player, the guy that they'll probably end up moving is Clint Capella, but then you're going to need another big guy inside to kind of give you what he gave you. But he came up small in the playoffs the last 2 years. But the person I want to make sure I see some improvement from is James Harden, the guy that I voted MVP last year and this year. When he's not initiating offense, Greeny, look at his footage. He looks disinterested. It's almost like he punts on a possession when he's not going to be the primary ball handler. When the last time you see him get out on a 3-on-2, 2-on-1 break? When the last time you see him come off the baseline and do a dribble handoff action? When he's not handling the ball as the primary ball handler, he distorts spacing, he has bad body language, he looks disinterested, and therefore becomes a buzzkill for his teammates. That's the guy Mike D'Antoni has to find a way to get to play a lot different when he's not initiating the offense.
Now, going to be a really interesting offseason. Jalen, we're looking forward to seeing it tonight as you'll be out there in Jurassic Park and everything else, and then we'll see you here tomorrow morning. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game. Of course, the NBA Finals begin tonight. 9 Eastern is the tip-off on ABC, and it's on ESPN Deportes, with the Warriors going for the three-peat and the Raptors in their first ever NBA Finals. Our Game 1 coverage tips off with NBA Countdown. So it's Jalen and Beetle and company, 8:30 Eastern tonight, and all of it can be seen streaming live on the ESPN app from anywhere. All right, coming up, even though we didn't play in the postseason, LeBron James is still the best